Okay, dear audience, welcome at Art Laboratory Berlin. Hello, good evening, or good morning, or good night. My name is Regina Rapp from Art Laboratory Berlin. I welcome you to an artist talk with dear artist So Kanno, who is one of the three artists in our current exhibition, Swarm, Robots, and Post-Nature. And we opened the exhibition last Friday, the 30th of April, only virtually, because currently in Berlin, we cannot receive the audience due to Corona. So we tried really hard to make it possible as in virtual formats to welcome you and to make you acquainted with the artists. And we are very happy and thank you so to take time and effort to bring your very fascinating project, Lasermice Diet, that has been produced in 2020 to everyone who's interested and is with us tonight. I'm joining you actually from the Art Laboratory Berlin office from Kreuzberg, so I basically take the position of the audience. And before you will give us a presentation and make us acquainted with the theoretical, practical, phenomenological background of this interesting project, let me just give a tiny little introduction into you autobiographically. Just saying as a context again, So is talking to us tonight in context of the ongoing exhibition Swarm, Robots, and Post-Nature. And we have three artists, Käthe Wenzel, Sophia Crespo, and So Kanno. And the exhibition project presents research based on swarm behavior, questioning the traditional concept of nature, and explores the interface of the biological and the machine. And just as an information for everyone also joining us now, we have these 3 Thursday talks. So tonight it's So Kanno speaking, in a week will be Käthe Wenzel, and in 2 weeks it will be Sophia Crespo welcoming us when giving us background information. And I'd like to quickly introduce you to So. So is actually based now for more than 7 years in Berlin, coming from Japan. And I find it very interesting when we see what his background is. So it is media art and also science and also design informatics. And it was in the early 2010s where he was also lecturing in Tokyo Polytechnic University at the Department of Interactive Media. And then also in the 2010s, So was lecturing at the Zokei University of Media Design. And what I also find noteworthy is that there was also a project, academic project of information design department. So you probably see already a little bit where the disciplines come together. And So received many prizes, only to name a few. A few years ago, So received the 22nd Japan Media Art Festival Excellence Award. A year earlier as well, the Festival Excellence Award. Then some couple of years ago, he received the 20th Japan Media Arts Festival jury selection and many other prizes. There is an interesting artist statement I'd like to share with you also before So begins his artist talk. So states, I consider the essential change of things brought about by the evolution and change of technology. And I'd like to create works to bring a new perspectives upon them. Just to go a little bit through previous works, I was struck to see connections of machines, robotics, and logic. And always there's always some aspect of philosophy and at play to it. For instance, I was struck 4 years ago in the artwork of Avatar's installation, how this work observed the new relationship that emerged when inorganic or non-autonomous objects transform into persons that act and perceive the world according to their own intentions. Or actually, there was another work in 2018, a yarn recorder installation that he did together with Ebru Kurbak, And that I found interesting just to know that the yarn recorder is a device for recording and playing sound, which curiously utilizes spools of yarns and threads as the recording media. So where the spindle as one of the oldest technologies on Earth and one of the archetype of all rotating things would be using actually as a device for playing and recording. Then I was struck also that So was producing an artwork with the title Asemic Languages, an installation from 2016. That was a project that focused purely on the form of the characters rather than their meaning. And then here AI came into the matter of the project, because the characters have been learned by artificial intelligence, not for their meaning, but for their shape and patterns. And then actually, if you allow me, so just before I hand you over for the presentation, just one project I was also struck. It's called Senseless Drawing Bot. And it's, I think, now 10 years old. And it was a self-generated drawing machine that used chaotic movement of double pendulum and drawing abstract line dynamically in real time. So I think coming now to talk about the laser mice, it is a whole development and a whole process. And as I just quickly wanted to relate to that where So came, where he is today. And so thank you so much to introduce us to this interesting project, Laser Mice Diet.
Your okay. Hello, thanks for introduction. I'm So Kanno, and today I'm really happy to show you laser mice installation on my back. For introducing like what it is, I just prepared a little slide. So let me screen share. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so laser mice looks like this. It's a photo of the single robot, but these guys make sense when there are a lot of them. So actually, in total, the first laser mice was 60, and laser mice diet I made 120. So means I have like 180 small robots look like this in total. And when it's installation, the picture from the first one looks like this. They communicate with laser, and with this communication, they start swarming. So, which means in nature, probably a lot of you have seen this kind of picture. This is birds flocking, and this is fish flocking in the ocean. And also, the famous example is these frogs. They're doing kind of chorus in the rice field. It's really you can, if you're in the Japanese countryside, it's really often. For example, I graduate school was surrounded by this kind of thing, and that was really interesting experience. They sometimes stop to sing, like all of a sudden, and then start again. And I don't know who is a conductor, but there is some research and stuff. So actually, they have a kind of rule for their communication, and in the end of the result of this communication between these frogs or fish or birds, they do this collective behavior, which often called emergence. And this video is Firefly, and Firefly is known for their synchronizing phenomena. And I was a little bit referring to this algorithm to make my own installation. And yeah, I don't have the simulator running right now, but this is the first installation video from the first installation. So the robot is, this is a prototype, the photo of a prototype. So they're communicating with the laser. For example, can you see this? They're reacting the light.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So they have a laser and the light detector. The combination of this laser and laser detector makes this the rhythm, the algorithm that generates the rhythm. And for that, I need the light sensor was so small, so I needed to do something for collecting the light. First, it was look like this. I thought like the semi-transparent plastic works pretty well. But when I'm printing the robots, there was a cat in the studio, and like I somehow get along with him. And you know this the laser with laser pointer with cat. That's everyone knows. They play together with like and this white hair cat. Their hair diffuses laser light pretty well. So okay, why not? I just tried. Then like the small robot started to look like a small animal, and then okay, so now it looks a bit different thing, but I really liked. But I was still wondering, like probably plastic works better, but it was not really different. And then okay, yeah, probably I would go with this hair. So that's how the robots become hairy. Which is important. So this is a close-up photo of the robot. Technically, they have a, like laser diffusion lens, and fake far as light diffuser, and there's a motor and wheel, and there's a bumper. So they basically behave like cleaning robots, like Roomba, when like usually just go to forward, and then when it's hit something, they turn. And also, since they're communicating with laser, when they shoot laser, they want to have a more angle to shoot. So when laser is on, they turn as well. So that's the basic behavior. And without hair, the fake fur cover, the electronics is like this. So and it has a big lithium-ion battery. And solenoid, that's important, it's solenoid. When only the laser detector communication making rhythm, but it's not audible, there's a solenoid that like striking the floor, so that makes sound. You know, the little difference of the rhythm, eyes didn't really recognize as ear does. Like with a sound, you hear really small differences. So the generated rhythm by light is sonified with a solenoid acoustically, and that's makes more a wearable state. So, and a year ago, 2019, end of 2019, I start to produce laser mask diode. What is the difference? Diode has the two-color laser, and also they have the daylight detector has a filter, so they could recognize the color difference. So that's how, like for example, I use this green light. You only hear the strike sound and the green laser. When it's red, it's more red, and you hear this like sha 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 sha, the bell ringing sound. So these are connected, and when it's received red light, it becomes red, and when it's received green light, it becomes green. With this behavior, it's a little bit like pandemic. It's not really, but the color infects each other, and I'm using some algorithm that like the majority moves slower and the minority moves faster. So then the minority, if you're a minority, then you hit more robots than the majority. So that keeps the wave of this state change. And also from this laser mice diet ensembles, I think the first exhibition of laser mice was 2018. I had many exhibitions, but it was all the time installation only, and I start to feel like I think with this swarm of robots, I could do something a little bit more different, like collaboration with musician or doing symposium, doing workshop, and that was this event was about that. This was a concert with the two musicians, オライビさんと国幸さんっていう、Mr. 国幸隆 and Oraibi is the artist there. We work together, and here's a video. In the beginning of the process, like we try to tell like what is this robot, and we kind of expect that like it will be not easy to explain such a thing. They're a robot, and then they do their stuff, like they're generating rhythm, la la la. But they actually understand what it is so quick, and we just had several meetings, and in the end, like we kind of decided like how do we play, what kind of pattern, but in the end, like we do improvisation. And we just met in the morning and did a rehearsal for some hours, and then we played together. This was really exciting. I really liked it, but after it was just before the lockdown in Japan, so it was rather we should be happier that we could make it. So, but this kind of opportunity now it's really suspended for everywhere. So at the moment it's quite difficult. But yeah, it was really interesting, and I see more potential to it. But this, I would say like his Mr. Kuniki's music. He's from Hokkaido, the great nature, and like his music sometimes really make make us imagine the field, the mountain, and like combination of those like sound of insect and stuff together with this resonance noise. It's kind of feel like artificial nature, like robot could be part of this kind of nature soundscape. And yeah, I saw those possibilities from here. And also after this event, we also did the workshop. It was locked down during this time. Like no one really can go do a event locally. Um, but I met this child psychiatrist who runs NPO, and she knew many kids who cannot go to school and also who wants to do something creative. And we made a group of 8 family or more. The first time was 8 family, and next time will be more. We sent the robot in advance, and we gave some pattern of this. Actually, this white fire has a pattern, and with the instruction of like how to make it, and ask them that like you can decorate as you want, but please don't make it too dark, or try keep not reflective, or because it has a light diffusing function, so don't go too much, but as long as it's fluffy white material, you can do really whatever you want. So that was the theme of this workshop, and in the end of the workshop, all the kids has to present their own mouse and the name and the characters. So like it was really fun. It was really reflecting who they are, the kids, and also after this workshop, all the kids sent the robot to me, and all this robot meet together in the same spot, and we did the live streaming again. So with this one, that was really interesting. Like I made this swarm robot as just swarm. I don't name it individually. They have a number, IP address, and or some number to for fixing or whatever. But I didn't set any individual character or name. But after with this workshop, when I see all those robots, those those coming with the kids' memory and like what they're saying, and so this layer was top on the on the swarming robots. So that was really interesting experience. And also when kids are watching the video live streaming, they try to find their robots. Of course, it's a little bit look like how does how you say it in English? Like the parents go to the school to see the class. It's a little bit something like that. So yeah, that was interesting. Yes, this is the process of the workshop. I mean, at the moment, like we cannot do this workshop here, but I wanted to continue this direction as well. Okay, so slide share is done. Do you have a question, Regina?
Oh,
Or
yes.
should I run this?
Yes, that is a good idea. Let's
Yes. Okay.
show a little bit here. We have a lot of questions.
Regina? Regina?
Oh, let it go for a while. It's great.
Hey, thank you for watching. Well, let's go to the Q&A.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So we also want to thank Tuja and Chris for all uh, installation, and thank you also. So I think we are all aware that seeing this performance, the laser mice diet performance live here over YouTube Zoom, is absolutely not replacing a physical interaction and experience with the installation as such. And we very much hope in maybe in late May or in June that we can actually all come here to the exhibition and see it and perceive it physically. But we just wanted to actually share somehow an experience virtually with the audience. Thank you so much for your presentation, So, and for the performance. And I had this impression that with the updated version, the laser mice diet, that there is much more of a balance. Yeah, the laser mice would not stop, right? They do not even want to let us talk, I guess. No, I just wanted to remark that in comparison with the first version, the laser mice, the purely green version, there it was a swarm as one, and there was the sound very predominant, and as
Yeah.
maybe flocking birds, there would be something coming together and then going loose again, coming together, and like the sound. And here I see actually a multi-layered system that you brought actually the dual system into it, but then it kind of like it is sort of like a balanced system.
Yes, exactly like this.
I think we could really see this, right, with the red and green, and I like that it
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
this complementary color contrast. That
No,
I think
that's comes from the
yeah,
ability of laser color.
see, but I'm
Uh,
coming from art history. I think we could really see that a few minutes ago the red took over and then the green took over.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I have so many questions. I think I should put it compact. I will look later on also to the questions in the chat. I was struck that you also had this additional point of making a children's workshop. And
Yes.
I see your projects as much as hardcore robotics and programming, and this is fascinating, and as design and robotics come together, but and at the same time, I think I mentioned it at the beginning, also a playful
Mhm.
performance that you offer us, pure joy of play and let play,
Mm.
and then you bring the kids in. Of course their business and their job is to play. So can you tell us a little bit um, how their reaction was when you let it all play together? I had this feeling, tell me if I'm wrong, that they already
The one thing I could not forget is one kid was somehow you know there was like in the end like there was a 40 robots or something, and one like we also prepared like 2 3 cameras, but one kid was really complaining like he couldn't find his robot, and I was really sorry for that, and but you know, but like I felt like they really into their own creation, and they feel like it's theirs and attached. And yeah, I this strong emotion I didn't really expect. Like they're more, I thought like kind of casual, like yeah, it's cute, la la la, fun or something. But like no, as they sometimes like really into one toy, like very important toy for them, like they're all the time together or something. Like also this robot moves. It's quite simple. It's not really complicated, but moves. Like something moves. Like um, they have some more attraction than the thing doesn't move. So for kids, it was Yeah, some of them I was listening like how my laser mouse is doing or something from the friend.
I think there was also definitely this component, which is actually very important for Westerners to learn with this animist spiritual
Ah,
component to actually identify as a robot as an in an animist context, you know what I mean? So I find this is
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
amazing. This also the appreciation of robots and robotics in Japan. I think this comes all together. Uh,
Yeah, I think for this robot workshop with kids, I'm not 100% sure because I think kids doesn't really have this sense of things, whatever. But I guess for the project I did avatars, that was a lot about that. The participant was adult, and also like you become a thing, and the visitor was told like this was possessed by someone from the internet, and like, this thing like maybe Japanese or Asian are familiar with probably.
yeah, I go a little bit to the questions in the chat, and then I'd like to go to the swarm as a biological and robotic definition. So we have here a question.
I switched.
How is the sound
Not yet.
made by the detection, or actually like when you have a laser cutter machine?
Sorry again.
The question was, how is the sound just made by the detection, or actually like when you have a laser cutter machine? So I think the question was, how does the
Laser cut machine.
I think the question was, how does the sound
What?
occur when the laser detects?
Ah, okay. The there's a sample robot here, and the robot has this part called solenoid. Here, and this one is striking floor, like,
Mhm.
and on the tail, there's a vibration motor with a tumbling jingle. And when this vibrates, this makes sound.
It's basically like
Is
an automaton orchestra.
yes,
I see a lot of post flux in here. This is really, this is really fascinating. So, there was also another question. Yes, and someone was asking of, have you thought already using glass of as a floor so people can see and walk from below? That would be also an interesting
yeah.
idea to see the installation from below.
Yeah. I was also thinking like fence structure to walk over it. I think then like probably a little bit looks like the river of Les Amours, and there's a bridge and go over, and so then like probably in this situation you just only hear from one or like up to this direction. But if you are in middle and then you're surrounded by the robots, then like probably sounds different.
Um, so I'd like to come back to a theme that was very dear to us, upon which we wanted to build this group exhibition, and also our emphasis this year at Art Laboratory Berlin, the biological and the machine, this interface. And I was struck by this text from Gerardo Beni about swarm intelligence and swarm robotics. And I came actually at this at a point where he's talking about swarm from biological perspective and swarm of robotics perspective. So he says all the key qualities of swarms apply to insect societies, and then he defines it's decentralized, not
Yep.
synchronized, with quasi-homogeneous simple units. And then he actually points out the interests from a biologist's point of view and a robotics point of view. And I just wanted to sum this up. I just find this really fascinating. So the main departure is in the goal of the swarm. Roboticists were looking at the swarm as a constructor, a system to create patterns or some kind of ordered structures, either internally as self-organization or externally, like self-reproduction. But then he points out that the biologists instead were also looking at the swarm as a pattern analyzer, a system capable of recognizing the best way to do something. Biologists, he said, also were also looking at swarms of insects as creators of patterns, like termite society, swarms of termites build complex structures. The interest was in modeling how the swarm can build ordered complexity. Where would you position yourself? So would you say you want to refer to the biological idea of swarm and swarm intelligence, or would you go rather coming from the purely robotics approach, dealing with swarm intelligence?
The very first book when I start this research, the motivation, no, the first book I read was, it's called Sync from Steven Sturgatz. And this widely explaining a lot of things, anything synchronized. And also some mechanic, like the most famous thing is this metronome synchronizing. But he also go to the heart cell, like they doesn't move from our intention. They just pump automatically till we die. And this is why this is happening. Like this is there's some cells that like do some synchronization mechanism, and they do kind of chain reaction to tell like now is the time, now is the time. So with this similar system, they do this pumping. And what else? There were a lot of different examples, but for fireflies, that's organic. And well, but the one fascinating thing is a lot of those robotic and stuff, man-made, human-made system, it's usually not decentralized. Like it's from the brain or some computer sending a commands to all the robots, and then they do just thing accordingly. They're the end and end, they're not communicating. But this swarm intelligence thing, like there's no leader, center, commander, but they do what they can do between them, but they emerge something bigger. So the fascination was there. So yeah, probably I'm in the bio kind of side. But yeah, I mean, interesting thing is like as an artist, like I have to run this kind of like complicated robotic system in the exhibition, and you know, other robots I have, once some point, small point breaks and whole system doesn't work. But this one, like 2-3 robot is not working, but the experience doesn't really change until it gets really smaller number. But yeah, I thought like, okay, so it's I kind of imitate this biological system, and biological system is more stable. It's not fragile as the normal robotic stuff.
That's so interesting what you say. So because I think you really you bring a very multi-layered connotation. You have very many aspects bringing in the laser mice, as I can see and learn. For instance, I was struck when I studied the comparison between the first version, the laser mice from 2018, the purely green version, and then the laser mice diet from 2020. And I think I would like to also come back to a statement of yours. For the first version, from the laser mice version, in 2018, you said this project is an attempt to explore a new expression by making an original algorithm which is inspired by algorithm of natural phenomenon and is not mere imitation.
Yeah.
I think this is an interesting point where we actually can really learn from nature, and I also like maybe coming a little bit away from robotics. I think this would be a totally whole chapter. Maybe we can make another talk at some other point about swarm robotics. This is really fascinating. But actually, you also pointed out earlier that the new version, the laser mice diet, has maybe also a metaphorical level. And I have found another statement of yours where you say the two states, meaning the red and the green, which affect each other and change dynamically, remind us of the bipolar state change in human gregarious behavior. So when people come together and become social, and the spread of rhyme,
Twitter,
and the infection of virus.
Yes.
So I think this is really phenomenal, actually, how you show us in this animal performance, in this animal robotics performance, in this post-data flux installation. So many layers. That's just what I wanted, actually.
The one thing I want to say is there is a lot of synchronizing algorithm for distributed node, I think. But this is a kind of music piece. It has to be interesting, enjoyable as music. So then, if it uses complete synchronizing mechanism, once it's synchronized, it just keeps synchronizing, which is not fun. And I found that I could make the algorithm that kind of going to synchronize, but not completely. And some point, some of them can get out from the synchronization, and all depends on the parameter. So that's the reason I wrote didn't copy too much. But yeah, I also think like the learning from the natural algorithm or biological being, there's a limitless discovery. So like yeah, I also think in that way now. So yeah, for that that's what I wanted to say. And for this, yes, at that moment, like I'm making the simulator, like which has 2 states, and yeah, it's easy to just change several parameters to make one win. It was not stable, and I felt that like, okay, if people have some power to control something on the social media, it's probably not so difficult to control. And also, like after this pandemic, there's a lot of people made a simulator why lockdown is important. So like having the moving node and like walls, or they just don't move completely, or they just move in a certain area, which is not so different from this simulator. Like infection, red become red, and green become green, la la la, and yeah.
That's great. So thank you so much for your insight. I think coming to the end of our event tonight, I really wanted to thank you so for coming and engaging to not only talk with us, but also to come to the space and to make it technically somehow available for our virtual audience. And we dearly hope that we can be together, even only in small groups in a couple of weeks. Thank you also, Tuje, Chris, Carolina, for making this the whole event possible, our live streaming event. And thank you, audience, for joining us and for coming again and again and again. So I hope we can welcome you again in a week. Also Thursday evening, 8 p.m.
Next week as well, right?
Yeah, it will be Kate Wenzel, and today in 2 weeks will be Sofia Crespo. So thank you so much, and see you soon.
Yes, thank you so much.
Nice.
See you very soon. See you.